Just a brief history of what I've had on my Bixler before. I start out here with the FrSky DSR2 Plus, which despite the antennas being put at a nice 90-degree angle, only got me to about 1.6K before the telemetry would start beating. I purchased the sleeve dipole extensions and put them nicely away on the tail, and this was much better, getting to 3.5 kilometers. So when I got the FrSky L9R, which I've actually had for quite a while now, I was a bit disappointed to find out that the PCB antennas were soldered in and they weren't changeable. I installed them on the plane, and as you can see, there's not that much separation between everything. I put a little 3D print to hold them. I've been waiting this long just to get the right day where it wasn't too windy and the wind was blowing from the right direction, so I could make an attempt at 5K in the safest possible conditions. Now this plane's actually been to 5K before using an R-Link system. The problem with the R-Link is that it's famously quite overpowered and seems to affect the Taranis just from its proximity. I got this in the way of some servo jitters, which were pretty annoying. The actual flight we had wasn't brilliant either. The conditions were, the rain was just coming in, so they were quite moist. I'd forgotten to turn my geofence off at 5K, so it failsafe there. And it did have one failsafe back on the way, so I wasn't particularly happy with the flight overall. So this brings us up to our Mad Dogs meet a few weeks ago, and I'm going to be using my Dominators with the internal 5.8 receiver, along with a Big Nose 13 free-turn helical mounted, so I'll be tracking my plane by turning my head. The flight is a total of 24 minutes long, so I'll be speeding most bits up unless there's anything of interest to note. I'm using my Storm OSD and a multi-star 4A FreeS LiPo battery. You might notice along the way that the Storm is telling me I'm out of battery. Aside from the current sensor being way out, it's set up for a 2200, so please ignore this. After launching and checking everything felt okay, I did a quick RTH test just to make sure the plane came back, and then we set off into the wind. The L9R doesn't have two-way telemetry like many of the other FrSky receivers, so we're keeping a close eye on the RSSI percentage, and it seems to look pretty good all the way out. At 3.5K, everything is feeling good, but I'm warned here by no other than Big Nose 13 himself, who had just arrived, that the helical is now pointing behind us. This is a problem as there's a bunch of trees and buildings in that direction that will block the signal.
Am I leaning all the way around to the left now?
You're pointing towards where our tents are.
What, behind us?
Yeah, you're quite. This helical now is pointing. You know where the cars are?
Yeah.
To the left of the cars.
Ooh, let me go right a bit then. I don't want to be behind.
So what I like to do is fly back to myself a little bit so I can then turn out again in a more appropriate place. Coming back to about 3 kilometers, we find a handy landmark and then turn to head out again. What was already pretty amazing during this time is that Neil, who was also in his goggles, was getting a good picture all the way out to 4 kilometers. He needed to turn his head at a very specific angle, but it was still pretty amazing to see.
So it's to the left 45 degrees of where you're looking.
Okay, well that's kind of what I want in terms of the wind.
Yeah.
Well, that's up to 4 now. Still looking good.
I've still got signal as well. I've still got video.
Don't worry about helicals at all. A waste of
the
money.
Today are pretty good. We've probably got low humidity today then. Maybe.
It was less good as we got towards the 5 kilometre mark though. Although just past 5 kilometres he did get a picture again, so we had a quick celebration.
What was that, 4 point?
I'm at 4.9 now.
God.
So let's do a turn at 5.
Oh, that's annoying. I could have got, if I got 5 kilometres on the skew.
Well, I'll turn around and see what happens. There's your 5.
Yeah, I've got it back.
Yay, you're at 5 on a skew.
Yeah, it's fuzzy, but it's legible, just about. I mean, I can't see the ground, I can see your numbers. Nothing at the moment.
Okay.
The RSSI seems to take a hit on the turn because of the antennas on the tail of the plane, but that said, it really doesn't stay low for very long. Somewhere along the return leg, we suddenly see that the picture goes a bit white, and there's a bit of haloing around the nose. I assume we picked up some moisture.
It's not, you go through clouds.
It looks a bit cloudy, doesn't it?
It does look quite cloudy.
Can't see a bloody thing.
460, you're in cloud.
I don't want to be in the cloud. I'm not going to be able to see very well through that.
450 metres up.
Yeah, so you probably will be.
And all that.
Don't worry about that. That's based on a 22. I've got a 4 amp in there.
as I don't think we're in the cloud, but when I check back on the HD footage, it looks like we've just gone through the bottom of one, which misses everything up for a while. This does eventually clear though as I descend, and despite the obvious moisture, there's no issues at all with the video signal. So in conclusion, I'm pretty impressed with the L9R. I've just got a standard Tyrannus, it's not had any mods, it's the normal 2.4 antenna. So I've really done not much to achieve quite reasonable range. It was very easy to track the plane in the free turn helical, and the RX just worked. We had good RSSI at 5 km, so I'm sure this would have gone further. Quite how much further I'm not sure, but if I get the chance, I'll try and find out.
Glidey, glidey, glide.
What's the statement?